This period has already lasted 30 years. I arrived here back in 1983, after my family bought this estate in May. When I arrived here in August of 1983, I was only 23 years old. And I was very fortunate to meet the person who let me discover this vineyard, and who had managed this estate for over 40 years, Claude Ricard. My family bought this estate on a pivotal period. I would like to say a key moment, 1982. This year was truly a turning point for what was going on before then and what was to happen later on in Bordeaux. Then I spent my first years here. I got married in 1984 with Anne. My son Adrian and Hugo were born respectively in 1985 and 1987. I then progressively take up the management of this estate. At first, it was only a contact. Then I took possession of it, along with time, because I quickly learned that in this trade, it takes time for things to be achieved. When one enters this trade, one can promptly understand that a vintage happens once a year. There are not 12 vintages produced every year, but only one. We therefore work all year long for this vintage. We put a lot of ourselves, tremendous amounts of energy, needing a great perseverance and a very good sense of observation to reach a result that will be set in stone. Your vintage will remain memories for decades. Look, we are still talking about the 1961 and the 1951 vintages. That is 50 years later. This profession is thus all the more surprising that it finally leads you to one major reward, the harvest. During the harvest, we will struggle to pick the very best fruit on the ideal moment, to make the very best wine out of it. The finest wines come from the greatest fruits. Therefore, we struggle all year long to be able to pick the quintessence of this fruit. Perfection. These perfect grapes that are broached to vinification with utmost respect and gentleness will present us with a silky wine. I don't like hard wines. I love charm. I love pleasure. I personally think that if when eating, what you have in your glass or in your plate does not please you, it is then pointless sitting around a table. For me, wine is culture, not a drink. This pleasure has to be given, but to achieve it, you have to be generous. I do personally like generous chefs, and believe me, you can see for yourself on the plate when a chef is generous or not. Well, in a glass of wine, you can see as well if the winemaker is generous or not. You thus have to give a lot, to put your soul and your heart to talk about and have people talk about wine. I know as such some great fine wines that are bloody and knowing, pardon my French. On the other hand, I know some little wines that are brilliantly charming. I truly enjoy when I go down to my own private cellars to decide which bottle I am going to choose. For my lunch, a dinner with friends, with fellow professionals, wine lovers, or maybe just with my wife and children, parents, or family. And once I arrive in front of my bottles, I am each time amazed, and it is always a big surprise for me, to realize why, on such day, I'm more appealed to select such region instead of another one. And I swear, it is not the cooking of my wife that would lead me to one bottle instead of another one, or depending on the person I host. It remains my own choice at first. And I love that. Why? Because I am like controlled, or at least guided, attracted. Undoubtedly, there may be a secret here at Chevalier, a secret for longevity that lies in the respect of the fruit. I try to remain the guarantor for this quality, of this choice made by ancients, to maintain this philosophy of wine based on great elegance. So the true secret of all this is the respect of the fruit above all. With great fruit, great wines are made, and believe me, there is no need to do more. This is Chevalier. And you see, this 61 I am holding in my hand is quite characteristic of this spirit, the spirit being the Esprit de Chevalier.